Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Sultanate witnesses new start of petrochemical industries with the completion of a number of projects in the coming period. The Oman Development Bank grants 405 million Omani riyals worth of loans to various economic sectors until the middle of the current year. And a new wave of U.S. sanctions against Iran starts tomorrow. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency Dr. Al-Hassani Abdul Rahman Ouattara, President of Côte d'Ivoire, on his country's National Day. Meanwhile, His Majesty the Sultan received a cable of thanks from His Excellency Prokopis Pavlopoulos, President of Greece, in reply to His Majesty's condolences cable on the victims of the forest fires that engulfed the Greek capital Athens. His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Masoud As-Sunaidi, Minister of Commerce and Industry, stressed that the Sultan will witness a new start for chemical, petrochemical and transformative industries with the completion of strategic growth projects for ORPIC by 2020. In a statement published by Oman Daily, His Excellency clarified that this will transfer the company to a complex for all chemical, petrochemical and transformative industries at the regional level, pointed out that the refining capacity for Sohar refinery achieved an increase in production process to meet the growing demand on oil and refining products for supporting economy development in the Sultanate. The fuel production increased by 70% and diesel increased by 90%, where gasoline production increased by 37% and kerosene and aviation fuel increased by 93% and liquefied petroleum gas increased by 91%, in addition to the increase of production of naphtha by 175%. More than 43,000 is the number of loans granted by Oman Development Bank since 2009 until the middle of current year at a value of more than 405 million Omani riyals. Oman Development Bank pointed out that most granted loans went for industry, agriculture and livestock wealth sectors at a value of more than 214 million Omani riyals, where a number of loans for fisheries wealth sector reached more than 17,000 loans with a value of more than 68 million Omani riyals. The bank also financed a number of educational and health services in addition to other professions. With the participation of a number of public and private sectors establishment, the Public Authority for Consumer Protection organized a seminar on commercial fraud, its effects and means of combating it. In the Governorate of Dhofar, a number of specialists in the commercial fraud took part in the seminar, which comes in an effort to protect consumer rights and protect market from manipulation. The seminar was accompanied by an exhibition in which a number of fake products were displayed. 5 work papers were presented during the seminar, which highlighted efforts exerted by the bodies concerned in combating commercial fraud. The seminar was held under the patronage of His Excellency Sayyid Mohammed bin Sultan Al Busaidi, Minister of State and Governor of Dhofar. A wave of U.S. sanctions starts again in Iran tomorrow, cementing Washington's headline stand against Tehran after President Donald Trump pulled out of the 2015 nuclear pact. As of tomorrow, the Iranian government can no longer buy U.S. banknotes, and broad sanctions will be imposed on Iranian industries, including its rug exports. Asked if Tehran would be able to evade the measures, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo vowed that the United States would enforce the sanctions, saying that heaping pressure on Tehran was meant to push back against Iranian malign activity. Iran's central bank has allowed money exchange offices to resume work after a ban imposed in March amid the country's economic troubles. The bank's governor, Abdul Nasser Hamati, said yesterday that money exchangers are allowed to sell and buy foreign currencies once again. He also said that legal institutions and businesses will be again allowed to bring gold and foreign currencies into Iran. Hamati said decision will be as effect from tomorrow. He said that the official rate will remain at 42,000 riyals to the dollar for vital inputs such as medicine and food. The government's decision in April to enforce a single exchange rate to the dollar caused serious problems for the country. Foreign currencies had recently doubled in price on the black market. Indonesia today sent rescuers fanning out across the holiday island of Lombok and evacuated more than 2,000 tourists after a powerful earthquake killed at least 98 people and damaged thousands of buildings. The shallow 6.9 magnitude quake sparked terror among the tourists and locals alike, coming just a week after another deadly tremor surged through Lombok and 17 were killed. Rescuers searched for survivors in the rubble of houses, mosques and schools destroyed in the latest disaster yesterday evening. A National Disaster Agency spokesman said there were fears of a number of people were trapped in the ruins of collapsed mosque in the northern village of Ladling. Lack of heavy equipment and shattered roads were hampering efforts to reach survivors in the mountainous north and east of the island, which had been hardest hit. More than 120 aftershocks were recorded after yesterday's quake, which released more than 5 times the energy of the quake a week earlier. Iraq's election commission said today it had completed a manual recount of May's parliamentary election, but was forced to cut the process short by the capital because the voting records had been destroyed by the warehouse fire 2 months ago. The recount was ordered by Parliament in June after a government report concluded there were serious violations in the initial count using an electronic vote counting system. 3 months after the vote, the winning parties are still embroiled in negotiations over forming the next governing coalition. A group of militia leaders placed second behind Sadr's bloc, which incumbent Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi's bloc in the third place. The political uncertainty over the makeup of the new government has raised tensions at a time when public impatience is growing over the poor basic services, unemployment and slow pace of rebuilding after a 3-year war of Daesh group. A car bomb explosion in Somalia's capital killed 4 people and wounded 7 others. According to the Mogadishu mayor's spokesman, the blast came from a car parked outside a restaurant in the city's Makkah al-Mukarramah road. The explosion shattered a period of calm in the seaside city, which had a large security presence following a series of attacks by the extremist rebels of Shabab, who are linked to Al-Qaeda and fighting the Somali government and African Union forces in the country. Emergency services in Portugal continued their fight today against a major 4-day wildfire on the south coast that threatened to engulf a hillside town overnight. The Civil Protection Agency said 44 people were required medical assistance as a blaze passed by the outskirts of Monchu, 250 kilometers south of Lisbon, in the dark. More than 1,100 firefighters were with 327 vehicles and 8 aircraft were battling the blaze that erupted amid a heat wave caused by the mass of hot air from North Africa. After 4 days of intense heat that broke some records in Portugal, with temperatures surpassing 45 degrees Celsius, authorities forecast a cooler period beginning today. The falling temperatures helped create a much more favorable condition for firefighters tackling the Monchu blaze overnight. Dozens of homes and hotels were evacuated around the town of about 2,000 people, which is known for its spa. The wind-driven fire has been racing across a tender dry pine and eucalyptus forest in the largely inaccessible hill range behind the famous beaches of Portugal Algarve vacation region. Still to come in our news bulletin. The mountainous areas covered by low clouds are great touristic attractions for the visitors of the Kharif season.
عبق فاح بين جنباتها، فنفثت سلاما برائحة لبانها. حلقت عاليا نحو السماء، فنقشت بأبجدياتها تاريخا جميلا، وبكرمها أمست مضربا للأمثال. مهرجان صلالة السياحي 2018 من 10 من يوليو إلى 25 من أغسطس.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Reviewing bilateral relations between the Sultanate and Kuwait, top discussions at the meeting between His Excellency Mohammed bin Nasser Al Rasbi, Secretary General of the Ministry of Defense, with Rear Admiral Khalid Ahmed Abdullah, Commander of Kuwait Naval Force, and his accompanying delegation, who in the current visit to the Sultanate. During the meeting, the two sides exchanged cordial talks and discussed a number of issues of mutual concern. Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Khalid bin Nasser Al Nabhani, Chief of Staff of the Sultan Armed Forces SAF, received in his office at Muaskar Al Murtafa today Rear Admiral Khalid Ahmed Abdullah, Commander of Kuwait Naval Force, and his accompanying delegation. Currently visiting the Sultanate, the meeting exchanged viewpoints and discussed a number of military matters of common concern. Rear Admiral Khalid Ahmed Abdullah, Commander of the Kuwait Naval Force, and his accompanying delegation paid a visit to Sultan Armed Forces Museum. They got acquainted with manuscripts and historical models which reflect the authentic architecture of Oman. They were also briefed on the development being witnessed by Sultan Armed Forces during the reign of His Majesty the Sultan. The music band of the Royal Army of Oman, RAW, came second at the general level at the professional and open performance competition using drums and bagpipes. It came at the first level in infantry and discipline competition, as well as the best musical band from outside the United Kingdom. The competition qualifies winners to take part at the final competition that will be held in Glasgow. RAW Music Band continues its participation at the drum and bagpipes competition held currently in Scotland. Oman oil price today reached $72.42 per barrel. According to Dubai Mercantile Exchange, Oman oil price rose by 42 cents. The average price of Oman oil August 2018 delivery reached $73.61 per barrel, thus 80 cents lower than the price of July 2018 delivery. During the Kharif season in the governorate of Dhofar, low clouds cover the mountains areas most of the time, creating a touristic attraction for the visitors and flock to those areas enjoying the beauty of nature and low temperatures as well as the drizzle. Most of the areas that witness low clouds are between Mirbat from the east until Dalkut in the west. The temperatures in such areas reach 20 degrees. Motorists and passengers are advised to take safety precautions when traveling around the areas with low clouds. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of Far and its nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with chances of cloud accumulation and scattered rainfall over the Hajar Mountains. Low clouds and fog late at night and early morning are expected over the coast of the Arabian Sea and the Sea of Oman. Winds will be southeasterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.45 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate witnesses a new start for petrochemical industries with the completion of a number of projects in the coming period. The Oman Development Bank grants more than 400 million Omani riyals worth of loans to various economic sectors until the middle of the current year. And a new wave of U.S. sanctions against Iran starts tomorrow. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.